Hey guys, iCave Dave here for iCave Games, and we're going to give away a copy of this with an exclusive Infernus Marine inside. We're going to open this box, which contains, this is the 5th delivery of Combat Patrol, and it's got some special stuff in there because I'm on the premium tier. But first of all, we're going to review what we have so far, starting with Tyranids. And I'll run you through a little bit of how I've painted these. So starting off from episode 1, we had the Hive Prime, Winged Hive Prime, which I painted straight away and does not match pretty much at all with the rest of my Tyranids at this point. Following that, we got the 3 Von Ryan's Leapers, and this is kind of what inspired how the rest of my Tyranids now look. So when I first painted these up with the Vallejo primer, the black primer, using an airbrush, they came out looking really glossy, and I didn't expect them to look glossy. I thought it was going to be like a matte primer. However, I posted over on my TikTok, which has actually got quite a few followers. If you're interested, follow me over there. It's iCave Games. That they kind of reminded me of the Xenomorphs from Alien, so I decided to go kind of along those lines in terms of the colours, and also a little bit kind of Gene Stealer inspired with the kind of pink faces, purples, very dark blues, those kind of colour schemes, which I think have come out really quite nicely. So then the rest of my Tyranids needed to be painted to kind of match. So we started off with the Barbed Gaunts. We got a set of those, which I think are really nice models. Like, I wasn't familiar with this as a model. The Von Ryan's Leapers also kind of along the lines of like mini lictors based on the Tyranids that were around back in the day when I first started playing 40k, which was 2nd and 3rd edition. So we've gone very much for those kind of bone claws, dark blue for the carapace, a little bit of kind of browny purple throughout on the body, the sort of more fleshy parts, and pinkish purple for faces. Then we've also got now 10 Termagants and a Ripper Swarm. And I've also painted up my first Psychophage, which I did a bit of kind of object light source painting using the airbrush as well. And then my airbrush died. But we have a new one, don't worry. So I think these guys are looking quite cohesive, and there is some more Tyranid stuff in this box too, which we'll come to shortly. On the Space Marine side, obviously we started off with the Space Marine Captain in Terminator armour, which I think looks pretty good. He does, however, have an Aquila on his chest, and he's the only Space Marine I have with that at this point. So then we added the 5 Infernus Space Marines and an additional Infernus Space Marine, which is in fact the limited edition one that we've got going on in this Combat Patrol that we are going to give away at the end of the episode, so stay tuned. Then we've also had from the Combat Patrol series, the Librarian, also in Terminator armour, which this was so much fun to paint, and it was one of the more complex models that I've painted so far since coming back to the hobby, but I think it's turned out quite well. The one thing I was really upset with was the face. I don't think that's particularly good, so that's going to get a little bit of a repaint. The paint recipe that I've been doing for faces just recently has been a quite easy kind of bleached bone, I think it's called, and Gilliman flesh as a wash over that. And that is a really simple, easy way of doing it, which looks pretty good. But I have gone a little bit more complicated on the faces when I bought myself the Titus figure that came out just before Christmas and converted him to be kind of a lieutenant more generically, but I think he may also count as an ancient because I've given him a big old back banner that I've made from scratch. Am I particularly happy with the back banner the way that it's come out? Not yet. I think it needs to be weathered a little bit, and it is a little bit thick, but I was using some like air drying clay to make this. It's fine. It may get replaced later down the line. But I am really pleased with the way that the face came out on this. I also replaced his chainsword with a power sword, and I think it looks pretty good. That's also got a little bit of glow going on from it. We've also had the Terminators, the Terminator squad from Combat Patrol as well, so they are all painted up as well. Their power fists is where the lightning is living on these guys, and I might have gone and got myself a couple of extra little kits on the Space Marine side of things as well. So I got a set of assault intercessors with jump packs because I think they look awesome, and I really wanted to paint them with the feet looking like they'd kind of jumped in from orbit, so they were kind of scorched, as if they'd done like a re-entry kind of thing. And also a set of regular intercessors, which are nearly done, not quite, but I've built them into 2 separate squads. They've also gone with back banners for the sergeants, because I kind of like the back banners. They're not the traditional kind of big block, straight up and down rectangle things. I've done them kind of flying backwards from the kind of conversion that I've done. It's not very in-depth, and I haven't painted the back banners yet, so ideas for those would be great. But these are, of course, my custom chapter, the Midnight Titans, all Apple-inspired, so there is a little bit of that action going on too. But shall we have a look at what's in this box, which is my 5th delivery from Hachette for Combat Patrol. So inside we have a Psychophage, and yes, I know I've already painted one of these, but I saw it in the store, it was £10, and this is quite an expensive model. Normally I think it's like 30, maybe a little more, so I think this was pretty cool to have an extra one of for my son's Tyranids. Next, we have 2 paints. Yeah, these are the boring episodes, I'm not going to lie, but I did have some Mephiston Red, I didn't have any Squig Orange, and orange is kind of where I had a little bit of a gap. Don't mind so much having the odd paint. And then 17 and 18 is another 10 Tyranid Termagants and a Ripper Swarm. So this is the second set of those, so that will bring us up to 20 Termagants, 2 Ripper Swarms. Very nice. Also, other than a couple of bits of paper here, this first one is just my invoice, so you can't see that one. And then this one is basically saying that in the next delivery, there is a special issue, which isn't included in the normal setup, so this is an extra cost, but you'll get a Chief Librarian Tigurus in the episode, in the delivery, which is interesting, because I'm not playing as Ultramarines, but I think for the sake of £10, it's a cool model. It's normally, 25, 26, something like that. I think it's worthwhile, so we'll take it. You do get the option of saying to them, I'm good, thank you, don't worry about it, but I can use him as a librarian, I can convert him, we can do something cool with it. The reason, though, that this box was so big is because on the premium tier, you also get these guys. So we've got a Brutalis Dreadnought and we've got a Hive Tyrant, which can be built as the Hive Tyrant with wings, or it can be built as the Swarm Lord, and all of that plasticky goodness is right here. So we do get all the extra wings. Let me know down in the comments which version you think I should build, because I'm not sure which is the best in terms of the gameplay. Not got that far yet. I have a feeling we'll probably do the winged one. That's my plan, but we may magnetize some bits so that we can switch out. That would be interesting and a bit challenging probably. And then of course we have the Brutalis Dreadnought, which is just a Brutalis, so we don't have all of the other options. This is Brutalis and Brutalis alone. I do think we've got options perhaps for the hip weapons, so I think you get the option of bolters or looks like melter weapons of some sort, multi-melters I would guess. Very nice looking kit, like the level of detail on these things is incredible. I did, and I will show you this one, sort of prototype what I wanted, because this Brutalis Dreadnought is going to be converted into my Chapter Master, and what I've done is actually sort of rapid prototyped it with a 3D printer, so don't tell Games Workshop, they won't be happy. But I think the winged Dreadnought is kind of a jam. I've also printed a few little details, so we've got the Apple logo, we've got the Midnight Titans logo also 3D printed as separate pieces, so I can build some more of those, get those printed off, and help to accessorize. So this was just kind of to get my head around what it was going to be like. And I think the scale is about right with this. It might be slightly bigger than the real ones, based on the parts that I have on the sprues here. So maybe been printed a little bigger than it needed to be. But regardless of all of that, we said at the beginning of this video that I'm going to give one of these away, which has got the Space Marine Sergeant. This is an exclusive sculpt, which is specifically for the Combat Patrol magazine. So you can't get this outside of this series at the moment. It does look like Combat Patrol is going to be starting to launch in other countries soon. Not quite sure where first. I've heard maybe Germany, and then I'm sure the US will be coming. But I will ship this anywhere in the world. All you need to do is leave a comment on the video with what you think of what we've done so far, what you'd like to see next, and use the hashtag #IWantToys. And then I will use a random number generator in the next video to see who wins it, and I will ship it to you wherever you might be in the world. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Keep painting for the Emperor.